There is a quiet secret that separates the average man from the great man, the ordinary life from the extraordinary. Throughout history, the most respected leaders, warriors, inventors, and thinkers were not simply men of talent or luck. They were men who knew how to control themselves. They were men who refused to be slaves to their desires. In a world full of distractions, temptations, and endless pleasure, the ability to control one's own impulses is the rarest and most powerful trait a man can possess. It is the difference between wasting your energy and using it to build an empire. From the moment a boy becomes a man, society places countless traps before him. The screen glows with endless videos. Food is engineered to keep him eating without ever feeling full. Alcohol is sold as a symbol of relaxation, and lust is pushed as the highest form of happiness. Many men do not even realize they are being chained. They think they are choosing pleasure when, in reality, pleasure is choosing them. Instead of controlling their desires control them. And when this happens, life begins to slip away piece by piece. Time is wasted, energy is drained, and the fire that once burned in the heart of a young man becomes nothing more than smoke. This is the great problem of the modern age. Men are growing weaker, not because they lack intelligence or physical strength, but because they no longer have the discipline to resist. They become prisoners of their own bodies. The man who cannot stop scrolling on his phone is not free. The man who cannot stop drinking or eating junk food is not free. The man who cannot control his lust is not free. On the outside, he may look like everyone else, but on the inside he is chained to his urges, always reacting, never leading. Such a man cannot dominate life because he cannot even dominate himself. The tragedy is that many men feel something is wrong, yet they cannot explain it. They sense their wasted potential. They feel their energy leaking away, and they know deep down they are meant for more. But instead of taking back control, they search for quick fixes. They try new diets, buy self-help books, or listen to motivational videos, yet they fall back into the same habits. The reason is simple. They have not attacked the root of the problem. They have not learned the ancient truth that all greatness begins with self-control. History is filled with examples of men who rose above others because they mastered their desires. Great warriors who lived with discipline were able to fight battles against enemies 10 times their size. Philosophers and inventors who restrained their pleasures used their time to create works that outlived them by centuries. Even spiritual leaders, respected by millions, gained their wisdom not by chasing desires, but by learning to rise above them. These men prove that mastery of the self is the foundation of power. Without it, no empire can be built, no victory can be won, and no legacy can be left behind. But what happens to a man who does learn this mastery? Something incredible. The man who can control his desires becomes like fire controlled by a skilled blacksmith. Instead of burning wildly and destroying everything in its path, the fire becomes focused, sharp, and useful. Energy that was once wasted is now directed toward building, creating, and conquering. His mind becomes clearer because he is no longer distracted by endless urges. His body becomes stronger because he fuels it with discipline. His relationships improve because he is no longer needy, desperate, or weak in front of others. People begin to respect him without him having to ask for it. At first, this path may seem difficult. After all, controlling your desires feels like going against your very nature. When you are hungry, you want to eat. When you are tired, you want to rest. When you see pleasure, you want to take it. But here is the truth. A man is not an animal. An animal acts only on instinct. A lion sees prey and attacks. A dog sees food and eats, but a man has the ability to choose. He has the power to step back, breathe, and decide what is best for him. This is what makes him human, and this is what allows him to rise above the rest of creation. The solution is not to reject all desires, but to rule over them. Food is not the enemy, but overeating is. Pleasure is not evil, but being a slave to pleasure is. Rest is necessary, but laziness destroys. The man who dominates life is the one who can say yes when it is time and no when it is dangerous. He uses his desires as fuel instead of letting them control the steering wheel. He treats his body like a temple and his mind like a fortress. Every day he makes choices that strengthen him instead of weaken him, and little by little he rises above the average man. Think about the difference between a man who wakes up and reaches for his phone to scroll through nonsense, and the man who wakes up and begins his day with focus, exercise, and prayer or meditation. The first man gives his attention away to the world, while the second man claims it for himself. Multiply this small choice over days, months, and years, and you see two completely different lives. One man wastes away in mediocrity, while the other becomes unshakable, powerful, and respected. The power of controlling desires also spreads beyond the self. A man who is disciplined inspires others. He becomes a leader because people naturally follow strength. He earns trust in his relationships because others see he can be relied on. He gains opportunities because he is sharper, more focused, and more resilient than those around him. And in moments of crisis, he stands firm while others crumble. This is why men who control their desires dominate life. They are simply more prepared, more focused, and more capable of handling the challenges that come their way. Of course, this path is not easy. It requires patience, sacrifice, and courage. There will be times when the weaker voice inside says, "Just give in. Just one more time. Just one more taste." But the man who is serious about his life knows that every moment of weakness takes him one step back, while every moment of strength takes him one step forward. He understands that discipline today becomes freedom tomorrow. And so, he endures. He resists. He grows stronger each time he says no to temptation and yes to his higher self. In the end, the question every man must ask himself is simple. Do I want to be ruled, or do I want to rule? If he chooses to be ruled by his desires, then his life will always be small, scattered, and weak. But if he chooses to rule over his desires, then the world opens before him. Opportunities appear where they once seemed impossible. Respect is earned without begging. Power is gained without cruelty. And most of all, he gains peace, because he knows he is no longer at war with himself. The truth is clear. The man who can master himself can master anything. And the man who masters nothing within himself will always be mastered by the world. To dominate life, you must first dominate your desires. This is the eternal law of greatness, the timeless blueprint of kings, warriors, and leaders. The choice belongs to every man, but only the rare few take it seriously. Those few become the ones who shape history. So if you want to rise above mediocrity, if you want to live with strength, respect, and freedom, begin with this one step. Control yourself. When you feel the urge to give in, stop. When you feel the temptation to waste time, resist. When you feel the pull of weakness, fight back. Every victory, no matter how small, builds the man you were always meant to be. Over time, your self-control will become your crown, your shield, and your weapon. And soon, you will realize what the great men of history already knew, that the greatest victory a man can achieve is victory over himself. If you made it until here, leave a crown emoji in the comments. I want to see how many of you reach the end and are truly willing to finish what you start. And remember, live with honor or die a coward. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and stay strong.